I'm the new caretaker at Eldridge Manor, this crumbling old estate on the outskirts of town that nobody's lived in for decades. I just lost my job at the factory after the layoffs hit hard, economy tanking, you know how it is, and this gig popped up in the classifieds. Promised decent pay for basic upkeep, mowing the overgrown lawn, fixing leaks, keeping vandals out. No tenants, no nosy neighbors, just me and the house. The real estate company that owned it barely asked questions during the interview. You got a clean record? Good with tools? You're hired. They mentioned the last owners vanished in the 1950s, but I figured that was just local legend stuff to spook the tourists. The manor was a beast, Victorian Gothic, all sharp turrets, ivy-choked walls, and stained glass windows depicting creepy scenes like hooded figures in forests. It sat on a hill overlooking a foggy valley, miles from the nearest streetlight. Driving up that winding gravel road for the first time, I felt a weird chill, like the house was watching me. But hey, rent-free living in the basement quarters? I'd take it over crashing on my buddy's couch any day. I moved in on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. The agent, a slick guy named Harlan, handed me the keys and a binder of instructions. Don't mess with the locked rooms upstairs, he said, not meeting my eyes. Owner's orders. And if you hear noises, old houses creak. He drove off fast, like he couldn't wait to leave. I shrugged it off and started unpacking. The basement was cozy enough, a small bed, kitchenette, even an old TV that picked up fuzzy local channels. Upstairs, the main floors were a time capsule. Dusty furniture draped in sheets, chandeliers coated in cobwebs, portraits of stern-faced Eldridges staring down from the walls. That first night, I cooked up some ramen and crashed early. Around midnight, the footsteps started. Slow, heavy thuds echoing from the hallway above, like someone in boots pacing back and forth. I sat up, heart skipping a beat. Raccoons? Wind? I grabbed my flashlight and crept up the stairs. The main hall was pitch black, the air thick with that musty old house smell. I swept the beam around, nothing. Dust motes danced in the light, but the floorboards were unmarked except for my own footprints from earlier. Hello? I called out, feeling stupid. Silence. I went back down, locked the door, and told myself it was settling foundations. Morning came with weak sunlight filtering through grimy windows. I got to work clearing the attic, figuring I'd start with the junk up there. Boxes of yellowed papers, antique clothes moth-eaten to shreds, a cracked mirror that made my reflection look warped. Under a loose floorboard, I found it, an old leather-bound journal, edges frayed, dated 1952. It belonged to Eleanor Eldridge, the last lady of the house. Her handwriting was elegant at first, notes about garden parties, her husband's business deals in the city, their son Timothy's piano lessons. But as I flipped pages, it turned dark. The visitor came again last night, one entry read. A shadow at the window, whispering through the glass. It knows what we did to poor Agnes. It demands we pay. Agnes? I skimmed more. Turned out Agnes was their servant, accused of stealing silverware back in '49. The Eldridges fired her without pay, and she cursed them before leaving town. Her words linger like poison. Eleanor wrote. The house remembers. I chuckled, rich folks and their guilt trips. Probably just a dramatic diary. I tucked it away and kept working. But that evening, as I fixed the leaky faucet in the kitchen, things got weird. The water ran red for a second, like rust or blood, then cleared. I heard a child's laughter from upstairs, faint, echoing. Timothy? No way. I went up, but the rooms were empty. In the parlor, a chair had moved, dragged to the center of the room, facing the window. I hadn't touched it. A cold draft hit me, raising goosebumps. This place is messing with my head, I muttered, shoving the chair back. Night 2, the footsteps returned, stopping right outside my basement door. Thump. Thump. Pause. I yelled. Who's there? No answer. I cracked the door, empty hall. But on the floor, scratched into the wood. Welcome home. My stomach dropped. Kids sneaking in? I checked the perimeter. All doors locked, windows intact. I called Harlan, but he brushed it off. Probably pranks. Stay vigilant. Easy for him to say. Over the next few days, it escalated. Objects vanished. My keys one morning, found later in the freezer. Books flew off shelves in the library, pages open to stories about hauntings. One afternoon, while mowing, I found an old gravestone in the backyard weeds. Agnes Morley, 1920 to 1949. Wronged and forgotten. Chills. Back inside, the journal's next entries described nightmares. Eleanor dreaming of Agnes's face at the window, decayed and vengeful. She wants our blood to settle the debt, it said. Timothy hears her too. I started sleeping with a baseball bat by the bed. The whispers began on night 4, faint murmurs through the vents, like voices arguing. Pay, join us. I recorded it on my phone, but playback was just static. Paranoia set in. Was I losing it? Isolation does that. But then, in the master bedroom, one of the unlocked ones, I found a hidden compartment in the dresser, faded photos of the Eldridges, and one of Agnes, young, stern, with eyes that pierce right through you. That night, the power flickered. Footsteps descended the stairs, thump, thump, closer. I barricaded the door with a chair. Something scratched at the wood, slow and deliberate. Go away! I shouted. It stopped. But in the morning, deep gouges marked the door like claws. I dug deeper into the journal. Eleanor confessed, they didn't just fire Agnes. When she threatened to expose their financial scams, cooking books to evade taxes, they locked her in the basement, let her starve, covered it up as her running away. The house absorbed her rage, Eleanor wrote. Now it lures others to feed it. My blood ran cold. Was I next? I couldn't shake the journal's revelations. Eleanor Eldridge's words painted a picture of a family unraveling under an invisible weight, Agnes's curse manifesting as shadows, whispers, and worse. They tried to leave, but the house wouldn't let them. Doors locked on their own, windows shattered when they attempted to break out. Timothy, the boy, had seen Agnes first, a spectral woman in the mirror, beckoning him to the basement. She's lonely, he'd said. Eleanor dismissed it as fever dreams until she saw it too. I decided to research the Eldridges online that afternoon, using my phone's spotty signal. Old newspaper clippings from the 50s. Prominent family disappears, foul play suspected. No bodies found, just an empty house with meals half-eaten on the table, as if they'd vanished mid-dinner. Locals whispered about a servant's grudge, but the police ruled it a runaway case. Debts mounting, scandals brewing. One article mentioned Agnes Morley, found dead in a ditch outside town, starved and battered. Official cause, exposure. But rumors said the Eldridges did it to silence her. Paranoid now, I started documenting everything. Photos of the scratches, recordings of the whispers. I emailed them to a friend back in town, just in case. If I go quiet, check on me, I wrote. He laughed it off as me being dramatic. That evening, while cooking in the kitchenette, the lights dimmed. A foul smell wafted up, rotting meat, like something dead in the walls. I gagged, opening a window, but it only grew stronger. Then a voice, clear this time, feminine, echoing from the vents. You know too much now. Join the debt. I bolted upstairs, thinking fresh air would help, but the main hall felt colder, oppressive. The portrait's eyes seemed to follow me, the Eldridges' faces twisted in silent screams. In the library, books lay scattered, open to pages about occult bindings, souls trapped in structures, feeding on the living. One tome, ancient and leather like the journal, detailed house spirits, vengeful entities born from injustice, growing stronger with each victim. To break the curse, it read, confess the sin and offer restitution. Fail, and become the walls. Restitution? For what? I wasn't part of this. But the house didn't care. That night, the footsteps weren't alone. Multiple sets now, adult, childlike, shuffling. They circled the basement door, scratching, whispering names. Eleanor. Timothy. Agnes. And then mine. Join us, they chorused. I huddled under the blankets, bat in hand, phone dead despite full charge earlier. Dawn brought no relief. I found footprints in the dust upstairs, bare feet, small like a woman's, leading to the locked master suite. Harlan had warned against it, but screw that. I grabbed a crowbar from the shed and pried the door open. Inside, a time warp. Canopy bed untouched, vanity with jewelry scattered, a crib in the corner. Timothy's room adjoined it. Toys strewn about, a music box playing faintly on its own, twisted lullaby notes. On the wall, faded writing. She waits below. The basement? My quarters were down there, but there was a deeper level, a cellar I'd glimpsed but avoided, padlocked. Heart pounding, I descended further. The air grew dank, moldy. With the crowbar, I broke the lock. Stairs led to a dirt-floored room, shelves of canned goods long expired, a coal chute sealed. In the corner, a loose brick wall, mortar crumbling. I pulled at it, revealing a hidden alcove. Bones. Human skeletons, 3 of them, adult male, female, and child-sized. The Eldridges? Walled up, just like the legend I'd dismissed. Scratch marks on the bricks, desperate attempts to escape. A note clutched in the female's bony hand. Agnes forgives not. The dead eternal. I dropped it, backing away, but the cellar door slammed shut above. Darkness enveloped me. Scratching started, from inside the walls. Panic surged. I pounded on the door, yelling, but it wouldn't budge. My flashlight flickered, revealing faces in the shadows, pale, decayed. Agnes's eyes gleamed. Pay, she hissed. I rammed the crowbar into the door, splintering wood. It gave way after what felt like hours, though my watch said minutes. I stumbled out, up to the main floor, grabbing my keys. Time to leave. But the front door wouldn't open. Windows jammed. The house groaned, floors tilting like a funhouse. Whispers turned to screams. Stay! Feed us! Objects hurled themselves, vases shattering, chairs toppling. I ran to the back door, forcing it with the crowbar. Outside, rain poured, mud slick. My truck tires spun, but I gunned it down the drive. Miles away, at a gas station, I caught my breath. Called the police anonymously. Check Eldridge Manor basement. Hung up. News later confirmed, bodies found, case reopened. But the house? Still standing, waiting for the next caretaker. I thought it was over. But months later, whispers in my new apartment. Footsteps at night. A scratch on my door. Debt unpaid. It's following me. If you're reading this, don't take the job. The manor doesn't let go. I thought escaping Eldridge Manor would end it, but I was dead wrong. That night at the gas station, shaking and soaked from the rain, I chugged coffee and stared at my phone, waiting for the anonymous tip to hit the news. By morning, headlines blared. Skeletal remains discovered in abandoned manor. Cold case revived. Police swarmed the place, yellow tape everywhere. They identified the bones as the Eldridges. Cause of death, starvation, walled up alive. No mention of Agnes, but locals in interviews whispered about the curse. That house eats people, one old-timer said. I watched from a motel room, anonymous, praying it was over. But the whispers followed. In my new apartment downtown, a cramped studio I rented with my last paycheck, the sounds started subtle. A creak in the floorboards at 3 a.m., like footsteps tiptoeing around my bed. I jolt awake, switch on the light, see nothing. Just city noise, I tell myself. Then the dreams came, Agnes's face, rotting, mouthing. Debt unpaid. Eleanor and Timothy beside her, skeletal hands reaching out. I'd wake sweating, heart hammering. Work was a bust. I tried picking up odd jobs, handyman stuff, but my mind wandered. Tools slipped, I'd zone out staring at walls, imagining scratches appearing. One gig at an old brownstone, the owner complained about. Noises in the attic. I noped out, quit on the spot. Friends noticed I was jumpy, bags under my eyes. You look like hell, my buddy Mike said over beers. I spilled a bit, no ghosts, just bad vibes at the old job. He laughed, but I saw pity. Then the manifestations ramped up. My keys vanished again, found in the freezer like before. Books I'd borrowed from the library, ghost stories, stupidly, flipped open to passages about vengeful spirits crossing thresholds. One night the power cut. In the dark, whispers. You carry us now. I grabbed my phone flashlight, saw it, a shadow in the corner, humanoid, flickering like bad reception. It lunged. I swung the lamp, shattering it. Lights came back, nothing there but broken glass. I researched more, holed up in coffee shops with free Wi-Fi. Deep dives into occult forums, historical records. Agnes Morley wasn't just a servant, she was a midwife with gifts, folk healer, some said which. The Eldridges, desperate for an heir after miscarriages, hired her. But when Timothy was born healthy, they accused her of sorcery, locked her away to hide their own dealings with her. Potions. She cursed them as she starved. The house will bind you, and all who uncover the truth will pay the toll. Uncover the truth. That's me. I was the one who found the journal, the bones. The curse latched on. I tried rituals from shady sites, salt circles, sage burning. Laughed at myself, but desperation wins. Nothing worked. The apartment got colder, frost on windows in summer. Neighbors complained of cries at night, child's voice, wailing. They glared at me, thinking I had a kid hidden away. One evening, Mike stopped by unannounced. Dude, you ghosted my texts. He froze in the doorway, eyes wide. What the hell is that? I turned. On the wall, scratched fresh. Bring them back. Blood trickled from the letters, not paint. Mike bolted, called me crazy later. Alone again, the footsteps circled. Multiple now, Agnes, the Eldridges, maybe more victims. I barricaded the door, but it rattled like wind in a storm. I had to end it. Drove back to the manor at dawn, crowbar and journal in hand. The place looked worse, vines thicker, windows like empty eyes. Police tape fluttered, but no cops around. I slipped in through the back. The air hit me, heavy, alive. Whispers greeted. Welcome home. Down to the cellar, bones gone, but the alcove pulsed with shadows. I read from the journal aloud, Eleanor's confession. We wronged Agnes. Forgive us. Nothing. Then, restitution. I yelled. What do you want? The walls groaned, dirt shifted. A vision flashed. Agnes's grave, overgrown. I ran out, found it in the yard. Dug with my hands, unearthed a locket, hers, with a photo of a baby. Timothy? No, hers, lost child, maybe why she helped the Eldridges. Back inside, I placed it in the alcove. Take it. Be free. Silence. Then screams, agonized, fading. The house shuddered, dust rained. I fled as timbers cracked. Back home, quiet for weeks. No whispers, no shadows. News said the manor collapsed. Inexplicably. Curse broken? Maybe. But last night, a scratch at my door. Faint whisper. More to pay. If you're reading this, don't dig into old secrets. Some debts follow you forever.